my fate. If this is the path the gods have truly set me upon, then they will not see me fall.
The gods would set you on the proper path. All you have to do is close your eyes and place yourself in their hands.
And if you are wrong?
Then I will give your city a great spectacle of blood. Blood and honor. It speaks to the man.
Do you not see it in his eyes? This is a man with dreams of blood and glory.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Good night to all the viewers, to all who are listening, to all who are listening on YouTube, to all who are listening on TikTok. Good night to everyone. Trinidad and Tobago, the program tonight is Remain Focused. There are a lot of things that is taking place within Trinidad and Tobago in which could cause us to lose focus on what is taking place within our country. And we would have seen a litany of social media bloggers that trying for us not to remain focused. There are issues of life and death within our country. And there are social media influencers trying for us not to stay focused on these things. There are investigations after investigations within our country. And there is the illegal detention. And we're all going to say that, the minister all right to detain Johan. But to you, Trinidad and Tobago, we must ask ourselves the question, if the actions of the government, if his actions was illegal, in essence, and if all of us have to remain truthful to ourselves, we are going to arrive to the point that he was disrespectful, but his actions was not illegal. And what I am seeing, Trinidad and Tobago, is the disrespect of the black race. And why am I saying that to you, Trinidad and Tobago? Oh, you remember Satmaraj and his commentary concerning certain things within this country? Oh, you remember the countless people within this country that would have been more disrespectful than Johan. But at the end of the day, we would have seen the government of Trinidad and Tobago use Roger Alexander to issue a PDO that today he's saying that is not political. And I am telling you, I know you're listening, to you, the special branch people that tape this program here every night, tape this, because I'm not afraid of you. I am only afraid of the man who could kill both body and soul, and who would have known me for the past few weeks. No, but I fear nothing. Roger Alexander would have made a statement within the public domain that is misleading, in which he's saying that this is not political. My God. Let me explain this thing here concerning the issuing of the PDO to you, Trinidad and Tobago, which could only be done by the Minister Roger Alexander without question. And nobody have the authority to question him when he issue a PDO to you, a public detention order. He does it. When he do it, it is without question. He ain't telling you that. The tribunal only come in after he make the decision. So when Buru would have came here and said that it is political, he was correct. So let me break down this Trinidad and Tobago analytically, because I know some of you is fanatics outside here and will use all kind of fanatic explanation to explain this thing away. I say, boss, I issue the PDO. And after I issue the PDO, will you revoke the PDO and make me look bad? Oh, you understand what's going on? So the PDO is issued by Roger Alexander, and then the tribunal study whether or not rationalize it to see if he would have done it rightfully or wrongfully. What you think going to happen in a position like that? Or you're playing games with the people at Trinidad and Tobago? Or you're playing games with the electorates of this country? Or you're playing games with us and expect us not to decipher the riddles that you put outside here, and expect us not to decipher political language? But there is a different political set of people that is up front within this country, that at the end of the day, you send the ball, we are going to bat it. And I am saying here, without fear or favor, Roger Alexander, in my language, is a liar. He would have lied when he made that statement. I ain't playing with Oya again. It's not about fearing anything, because at the end of the day, whether or not you have to come for me, you will come. You will find a way. You will try to shove this thing on my throat, because if you could do it to Johan, if you could do it to the Hadids, if you could do it to the many others that never have been charged, who the hell is me? I just one person. And to find a way to do it, yes, you are going to do it. I don't trust this government at all to make any strong decisions for the people of this country. And what I am telling you, the national public that is listening on to this broadcast here tonight, is to not to trust the government in making any decision going forward. This UNC government, if you would have tracked from 2010 to 2015, they would have never brought no new development to this country. Their only style of governance is to borrow, and you are seeing it now. You are seeing it. You are seeing the factor that they would have chained up a whole population to do all kind of thing in this country, to make them vote for them, and then at the end of the day, they have no other choice. They ain't telling you outrightly, you know, we lie and we chain all up in it. They started to talk about Rowley. They started to talk about this. They started to talk about that. And going after the PNM headquarters, yes. They're going after the PNM headquarters. And what I am going to do here today is put that up here, but for now, Trinidad and Tobago. For now, there is a gentleman I would like to bring up here this afternoon, and I'm going to call him in a while. But listen to the plight, Trinidad and Tobago, of Johan Harry's sister. Yes. Listen to the plight of Johan Harry's sister. The man sick. The man in jail on a detention order because he made a statement publicly. Yes, sister. And we are trying to get his sister here on this platform so she could say what she needs to say, because at the end of the day, there are no other platform in Trinidad and Tobago that is interested in the truth. Because if you're on TTT, they don't care about that. They don't care about that. Your sister.
I know that it is, Johan would have made statements that it is we as his family and we as a nation do not agree with. It was disrespectful and it was offensive and it should not have been done. And a lot of people are going to feel like maybe he deserves what it is he gets, but he's a human being and he's my brother, and more than anything we just want him to survive. So if you can't help, please do help. I know that it is, Johan would have made statements that it is we as his family and we as a nation do not agree with. It was disrespectful and it was offensive and it should not have been done. And a lot of people are going to feel like maybe he deserves what it is he gets, but he's a human being and he's my brother, and more than anything we just want him to survive. So if you can't help, please do help.
So the man's sister came up here online talking about she brother. She brother would have made statements that a lot of the people of this country, it didn't organize well with them, even myself. But was that detention order that was issued to Johan Harry, was it justified? Did he break the law of this country? Did he break the law? And what we are saying here unapologetically is that is aggression, advantage, trespass law. Don't say Ian Allen take shame out of his face and would have reported the facts of the matter as is. And we must call on the government of this country to release Johan Harry. He disrespectful. He ought not to say what he said. But don't use the law. Don't use the law, Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, you Kamala. The scumbag, political scumbag. You Alexander, that will do anything without thinking and follow the wishes of this Prime Minister and issue a detention order regardless to what. You see, these things have to stop. Have to stop. Ian Allen's statement. So what's this? What's this? I bring Ian Allen's statement one time. Oh yeah, I don't know, something wrong in it. Something wrong in this country, you know.
sent to prison under PDO after comments against Prime Minister and Hindus. Social media activist Johan has been sent to Eastern Correctional Rehabilitation Center, ECRC, after being served with preventative detention order amid ongoing police investigation in a series of controversial online videos. Harry of East Port of Spain was initially detained by officers assigned to the Criminal Investigation Department and Special Operation Unit as investigators examined videos that allegedly contain offensive and inflammatory remarks directed at the Prime Minister, Prasad, and Hindus. Police told IN News that while in custody, Harry reportedly complained of feeling unwell and was taken under police escort to Port of Spain General Hospital, but he has been placed on a preventative detention order.
So you put him on a preventative detention order. PDO. Or you put him on a PDO. Based on what? A disrespectful statement. So, or you don't have no care. Or you have no shame to use the law. Wrapped. Use the law. But behind it was aggression, dictatorial tendency. And now you put it in a law. And we are seeing the same way the law is being used to deal with this same thing with the rest of people of this country. With no form of natural justice or whatsoever. That gone out the window. Now you're going passing laws and going after people. There's a word for that in law, you know. There's a word for that in law. Now, as I would have said Trinidad and Tobago, we would have discovered the actual reason why Johan Harry have been arrested. And what we are going to do here is play that, and then we will bring up the guests. Up next, we will play the guests. As a matter of fact, let me play the video, and then we will bring up the guests. We're expecting Wendell Leversley to be here this afternoon. So, Johan would have known the real reason why. Right. Johan was locked up. Let's play that clip here. Or you can find it on YouTube, on Workers' Rights 868 on Facebook, Workers' Rights 868 on TikTok, Workers' Rights 868 on Instagram, and Workers' Rights 868 on Facebook. Or you can find this video there. But we'll play it here for the sake of the listening public, and we will ask the rest of panelists who will be joining us here live on the panel, and they will give their perspectives on what is taking place. But let me play that video. Let me get the guests up, and we'll have that discussion here tonight. So let's play the video. My name is Ryan. This is the Workers' Rights Platform, and we are broadcasting live on the Workers' Rights Network. Jason De Silva would have made a statement, and he would have gotten arrested. And we would have watched the entire video, and we would have never seen anything that warranted arrest, other than police aggression. And the mere factor that Jason De Silva would have known of his rights, he was arrested. Now, we have seen a similar case with Johan Harry. But again, we were distracted. Argumentum ad navitam. See, we are playing with the recency effect, with things that are new. So we move on to other things, and we fail to analyze this whole story. Oh, some of you do not have the whole understanding surrounding this whole thing. I know why Johan Harry was arrested in it. Forget the factor about this Hanuman God thing. Yes, it was disrespectful. People would have said more disrespectful things than that. Trample Dragon, he actually went in to places of worship and do certain things. But Johan Harry would have been arrested based on this statement. Pay attention.
The commissioner have little sense. And the the Homeland Security Minister have no sense. So we have a man with little sense being led by a man with no sense who is supposed to take charge of the people in Trinidad and Tobago. The job of the police within Trinidad and Tobago is to arrest those who have infractions against the law and to bring them to face the court. Now, if it is you decide that you are murdering this person, you are no longer an officer of the law and should be treated as such. You cannot be protected by the Police Service Commission, by the Commissioner of Police, by the Homeland Security Minister. It don't make sense. We're not taking that.
You see why they arrested the young man? It's for those that have eyes to see and ears to hear. The youth man was making a lot of sense. So what I am going to do here now is bring up the guests, and I go join in everybody from on TikTok just now. Let me join. Let me see if I could make a call. I ain't have much money on my phone, but right, let me see if I could make that call here tonight. Good night, sir, Mr. Eversley. No, his phone's still ringing. Okay. I'm getting no answer from Mr. Eversley here on this platform. But at the same time, before he go ring back. So we have the rest of panelists that are joining us from over on TikTok. Warrior Princess, good night.
Hi, pleasant good night, Mr. Jeffrey. Pleasant good night, Trinity, Mr. Bernard, everybody on TikTok and on YouTube. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Listen. Hi, Miss Felix. Pleasant good night. This place starting to get more scarier and scarier. Because, you would have just explained what would have taken place with Johan Harriet. Yes, he was wrong, right, for disrespecting someone's religion. But that is not a crime. Why is he in jail? And it is alleged that he was badly beaten, right? So then, why not just pull him in and give him a very stern warning and let the man go free? Put him in prison. What crime did he commit? And that is something we have to watch now. We can't let it slide, We have to continue to talk about this and let our voice be heard, because you notice
One second, the princess. Mr. Bernard, mute him, please.
Right. I'm muting Mike.
Right. We can't let it slide because gradually, they want to take away from the time you're talking up for your rights. They want to take away your rights, their freedom of speech, And funny enough, a couple months ago when we were campaigning, we said all kind of things to the PNM. No, I didn't really curse or disrespect nobody, but I talk on certain issues. And There were people said all kind of thing about Rowley, all kind of things for all the ministers, and nobody was locked up. So what is the difference now? This young man is a sickler. This young man is a sickler. What he do? What is his crime? What he get locked up for? Did he get locked up for obscene language? Did he get locked up for threatening to unalive a minister? What he get locked up for? Why is this young man in prison? That is my question tonight. Why? For talk. But Kamala was the one, the Prime Minister was the one that told us to let our voice be heard. Do not let them silence us. So what is the difference back then to now? That is what you call wickedness. That is wickedness on the highest level. That is wickedness. Oh my God. God will never forgive these people for that. That is my contribution.
My God. And Mr. Bernard, I mean, I know you does always come up with us, always are here on here. But what's your contribution here tonight? There's a man come on the scene, and I know you does always come fiery. What's your contribution here tonight, Mr. Bernard? Let me see if I could. Right. So your mic turn on. Let me hear what is your contribution there.
Yeah, good night, everyone. Well, the UNC has a pattern that every time they come into power, suddenly race becomes a problem. And I believe the persons who blame people of being racist for decades now are themselves racist. And there's other evidence for that, but I wouldn't get into that because, I move with my receipts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you something. We have to look at the fact that this government created laws to oppress people, like that 500 meters, to stay away from buildings. That was never there before in history of Trinidad. And in any democracy, that do be there, right? At the end of the day, Satmarad said that Tobagonians are racist and lazy. And persons from the UNC went to the Privy Council, even though he lost the case in the High Court in Trinidad, they went to the Privy Council and they lost at the Privy Council. Nobody ain't talking about that. They still want to defend that kind of nasty behavior. Now, in Trinidad and Tobago, what laws can they bring? If someone cursed someone else's God, that is more of something that is an emotional thing that will hurt people. They will feel disrespected. The most they could do is send out issue, like if in case you say F the Pope or something, the Catholic Church could issue a public statement condemning it. Right? So if you say things about people, God, the Mahasabha could come out and say, well, hey, let us issue a statement. Because when I wrote my book and thing, they issue a statement, a public statement to tell people to buy it and condemn it, all kind of thing. All sold out. But that is the most you could do because there is no law in a democracy for challenging anybody else's God or even insulting a God. There is no law in a democracy with regard to that. Because we even see the biggest democracy in the world, which is the United States, cannot stop the Church of Satan. Imagine that. They can't stop the Church of Satan from being built in America. So that's to tell you how democracy operates. People could insult, they could do this and that. What they could do is issue some kind of statement. They haven't done that. What the Hindu organization have done, if you notice so far, they have been quiet. You know why? Because we have our protective services that can be used as a tool, not only a political tool, but as a tool to settle grievances that may hurt other people's feelings, even though they haven't broken any law. And let me tell you something. This thing about, yes, God will deal with them, but let me tell you, in this life too, they will be dealt with, because after this is said and done, there's a number of things that history will record that they didn't know. There are a number of things that they have to be called to account for that. You understand? They cannot, this just can't stay just so, because anybody they could arrest, right? They arrest the Hadiths or whatever. Up to now, we haven't seen anything in the public domain with regard to why arresting people just so, but they have their plans. And what he did, he just insulted Roger Alexander and the commissioner, and somehow these guys are so hurt, they're so thin-skinned that you can't talk about them because, oh shit, boo-hoo, bullshitting who, right? So, I don't see their action as being mature. It's more juvenile and self-serving. That's what I have to say on that, yeah.
And before we have to go on to the rest of panelists, Trinidad and Tobago are playing a tape here from Eric Williams. And I want you to listen to it properly. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody should insult nobody, God or whatsoever. Right. I believe in that. But at the end of the day, Trinidad and Tobago is not a crime. Let we deal with it. Let we deal with it as it come. Listen to this tape from Dr. Eric Williams. See if we could.
The first responsibility that devolves upon you is the protection and promotion of your democracy. Democracy means more, much more, than the right to vote, and one vote for every man and every woman of the prescribed age. Democracy means recognition of the rights of others. Democracy means the equality of all in the eyes of the law. Democracy means equality of opportunity for all in education, in the public service, and in private employment. I repeat, and in private employment. Democracy means responsibility of the government to its citizens, the protection of the citizens from the exercise of arbitrary power and the violation of human freedom and individual rights. Democracy means freedom of worship for all, and the subordination of the rights of any one race to the overriding right of the human race. Democracy means freedom of expression and assembly and organization. All that is democracy. All that is our democracy, to which I call upon all citizens to dedicate themselves on this our Independence Day. This is what I meant when I gave the nation as its slogan for all time: discipline, production, tolerance. Our national flag belongs to all of us. Our national coat of arms with our national birds inscribed therein is the sacred trust of all our citizens. So it is today. Please, I urge you, let it always be so. Let us always be able to say with the psalmist, behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
Trinidad and Tobago, what we ought to be doing when we hear the tape from Johan is to condemn the statement, not put him behind bars. The police service is for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, not for the UNC. Not when somebody come publicly and disrespect the religion to lock them up. The police service is not for that. The hell with Roger Alexander if that's what he's doing. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, it's about time you make a statement on this. Johan would have said something disrespectful and I condemn it. Just like all the rest of people on this panel. But to put the man behind bars, the man's sick. He says stop begging. My God, Kamla. But I don't know, you know. We have Sharon Felix on the line. Sharon Felix, I know we would have had a conversation today in which, boy, I could feel it. I feel any energy on the line. What's your contribution here tonight? Because I know you're coming like Lara or like Chanja Paul, somebody down that line. So, what's your contribution here tonight, Sharon Felix?
Evening again, everyone. My contribution is the words from my mouth may get me in trouble.
Oh God, girl, take it light. Take it light.
It's so much a man could take. It is overbearing in this country. It is overbearing, the wickedness. I don't think people bargained for this and voted for this. Let me just say something. In 2000, 2015 to 2025, every single UNC activist, whoever you could have called activists, from radio to TV to wherever, could have cursed the Prime Minister then, Dr. Rowley, and ministers, and said the most vile things about them, and it was not a problem then. To use the same set of activists to cuss and say the same kind of words to the then government. And it wasn't a problem then. You didn't find it was a problem. Vanilla Allen Toppin went to the parliament and tried to denigrate Dr. Rowley and his dead father.
My God.
All you remember that? And
call him a rapist. Not even to call him, but Sharon, you're saying something that.
You all you tap on her shoulder and all you say to her, well done, my slave. Well done, my slave. It was not a problem then. But in this country today, you can't say nothing. You have to watch your words. You even have to watch where you swallow and you eat, because it might come out when you belch in the wrong way and they might lock you up. This is our country. This is our country we live in and we want to be happy in. This is a country that our citizens want to be happy in. Look how much things they talk about Catholics and this and that and the other, and it was not a problem. Oh God, Trinidad and Tobago, yes. I mean, it are certain things we can't stand for. And you have to say, you have to follow the rules and regulations. If a man's sick, oh God, boy, all you rather him to stay in prison and dead?
Yep.
All if was locked up, all if was supposed to be on dialysis and wherever. We himself know what kind of treatment they got. Why we doing this? Why we doing this? Aren't we all citizens of this Trinidad and Tobago? When UNC win, everybody win. Renaissance. And everybody on this panel. You know, sometimes you just get up. And you just get up in a mood. But these days I get up in a mood and I don't know how long I could control it for. It's overbearing. It's overbearing.
What we are seeing here in this country, from this government, they get in power, and they're saying these things are not political, and we are seeing it. We're seeing it for what it is. The man's sister coming out here and she begging the Prime Minister, she begging, oh God, let go my brother, yes, we know he says something stupid, we know that, but yet still, so what the man to dead inside of there? What the man to dead?
I know that it is, Johan would have made statements that it is we as his family and we as... I know that it is, Johan would have made statements that it is we as his family and we as a nation do not agree with. It was disrespectful and it was offensive and it should not have been done. And a lot of people are going to feel like maybe he deserves what it is he gets, but he's a human being and he's my brother, and more than anything we just want him to survive. So if you can't help, please do help.
Daddy girl brother, he in thief, they know him on a robbery, they know him in the bank thieving properties or holding up people at the side of the road. They know him in somebody's house. They know him with drugs. The whole man for making a statement within the public domain. The man's sick. His sister come out pleading. And what the hell wrong with this government, boy? I real vexed this, because at the end of the day, the man makes certain statement. Yes, bring him up, caution him. But you want to leave him there for him to dead? It's dead. They want to leave him there for him to take. His sister come out and say the boy sickly. He could drop down. Punish him for making the statement. But oh God, if If it was me inside of there, if it was you, or you think about it. But we playing inside here, yes? I know it's other people on the panel. I don't want to take up too much of the time. We have, who we have? Michael, we have Michael. Michael, what do you have to say on this subject here this evening?
Good night to everybody.
Yes, good night, sir.
It becomes so dread in this country. If I really could know, my tongue that be different when I start to make my contribution, eh? My tongue does get heavy and some things just want to come out. And I rather not say it. Because it will sound disrespectful. But you see this government, trust what I'm telling you. After the next 4 years, this government will never ever see office in this country no more. Trust what I'm telling you. Trust what I'm telling you. It's a vindictive government. You see Dr. Rowley government, when they used to say Rowley is a dictator and Rowley is, who is the dictator now? Who is the dictator in this country now? These people come to control, they come to control in all different ways in this country. You can't do nothing that what they do like. They're very advantageous. Very advantageous. I mean, one sickly guy, all you look up for just a statement he make. Well, I shouldn't say just a statement. But, oh God, all they didn't catch him with drugs. All they didn't hold him because he raped. All they didn't hold him because he thief. Because he made a statement, well, oh God, sympathize with the man, caution him, charge him, and set him free to see a doctor. You know? I will get kind of... It's urgent me to say what I don't want to say. So let me pass it on to somebody else.
Well, there are other people on the panel here this evening. So we have Anaska Naman. Anaska Naman. Good afternoon to you, ma'am.
Hi. Good night, everybody. Good night, Warrior. Good night, Renaissance. Good night, everybody. I am making this plea again to the Minister of National Security, Roger Alexander. You have the power to make that phone call to have this guy released. Please. You are a police officer. You find some bit of humanity within yourself and understand he did his time. He suffered enough. This man is ill. I don't want to wake up a morning and hear they find him or find his body. I can't take that. So I'm pleading to the Minister of National Security. Do the honorable thing so everybody would be able to be at ease. We are restless. We cannot function. We are angry. We are hurt. Again, we do not endorse any statements he made that does not reflect how we feel or what we think. But at the end of the day, please release this man. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. We don't even know what is happening with Alexis. If Alexis is still alive. Come on. Come on. Did he break the law? Or did he hurt some people's feelings? He would have suffered enough. He would have suffered enough. Release this man so that he could get medical attention. I'm telling you, if anything happens to him, it will be on all your head. The citizens will not take that lightly. We will keep it in mind. Do the honorable thing and release him so that he could get medical treatment. He has suffered long enough. You have made him into an example. All right, I'm positively sure he will not utter those statements anymore. He will go in his corner and recuperate. This cannot be the way. This cannot be the way to instill fear into the population. This cannot be it. You will have turned all your backs on the people who voted for you all, and this is the atrocity that is happening. This could never be right. This could never be real. It's not looking good internationally. You all are breaking so many human rights laws, denying this man medical attention. He needs help. He needs help. Madam Prime Minister, shoot a message to Alexander. And now you just let him go. Let him face charges. But don't have him languishing in a jail cell. We don't even know his condition. We don't even know what he looks like. And he's a thin guy. He's a thin guy. Suppose he is on death's door. Come on. Come on. I'm appealing to the government. Let good sense prevail. Let good sense prevail. And for the sake of God, do not traumatize the citizens anymore. We are traumatized. Every day we get up and we're feeling heavy. We're feeling frustrated. The air is saturated with negative energy because everybody's suffering, everybody feeling it. Come on. Whatever little ounce of humanity, all you have, do the honorable thing now. I am pleading, I am begging. Come on. That's my contribution.
Well, so again, we have a lot of people on the panel here. I know we have Trinity. Trinity coming all the way from Point 14. Or you know that Trinity pregnant. But she making herself present here all the time. All the time. So Trinity, what's your contribution here tonight?
Good night to everybody. Good night to the panel. Good night, Mr. Jeffrey. Good night, YouTube. Good night, Trinidad and Tobago. This is very disheartening because at the end of the day, the man, well, to me, he do nothing wrong. The man said they're praising false God, they're praising idol. That is exactly what they are doing. Right? Everybody have a right to their opinion. And to me, the man was just stating his opinion. This is a man that is frustrated. You understand? He's frustrated like everybody else. We are all frustrated. Because at the end of the day, all the government doing is sucking we dry. Literally sucking we like mosquitoes. Because we can't say what we want, we can't do what we want. They basically are the country afraid. People walking on eggshells around this government right now. And the man just say what he think he needed to be said and only lock him up. What is this man crime? Shooting out him out? That is he crime? This is ridiculous. Free this man. This man is sick. But I know what's going on here. This is a race thing, and I say it my whole chest. This is a race thing. You understand? Because Philip Alexander with his stink mouth just be saying a lot of wrong things when the day comes.
With the political stink mouth.
That too.
Yeah. No. with the political stink mouth. Let leave it. Political. Yes.
Exactly. If they have nothing that Philip Alexander can say about Kamala under the sun. This man called PNM people hooligans. PNM supporters, he call them hooligans. He say all kind of thing about Mr. Rowley. He say all kind of thing about Miss Penelope. People pull up Miss Penelope with her ape next to she on Facebook. Nobody ain't going to jail. Look at how much thing people say about Rowley. People say Rowley a side chicken Tobago and all kind of thing. You understand? And nobody ain't go to jail. Because this man decided that he is frustrated and wanted to speak out for the public. And he said that the commissioner have a little brain and Roger Alexander have no brain, which is true. He ain't lie. Roger Alexander have no brain. The man doesn't think before he talk. The man is talking in riddles. The man is talking in parables. He can't answer a straight question. You understand? He's act like if he in kindergarten still. Only lock up the man. Release this man.
as you say then about Roger, I want to ask Roger Alexander if he understand what he does be saying. I want to ask him honestly if he does understand what he's talking about for you himself. I would like to know that. But Trinity, go ahead with your contribution.
They need to release this man from jail because the man did nothing wrong. The man spoke the truth. Because I remember a time when the East Indian and them was talking about the Catholics too. They said the Pope like little boys and all kind of thing. Nobody can get locked up for that. But the one to lock up the man is a race thing. I saying it and I just see it every day. It is a race thing. Once you hear nappy on your head, they will lock you up. I am positive that 95% of the prison, 95% of the PDO is Africans.
Right, Trinity.
Because they just don't care.
Trinity, let me stop you a little bit on that. I feel you're going to turn it into this kind of thing here. Where we really want that here tonight. I understand where you're going, I understand the lines you're going down, but don't let them lead we into making the public believe that, we don't accept everybody of every race. Because at the end of the day, all are we, when they cut me, you see blood, when they cut you, you see blood, but there are people outside here that believe that they are more better than the rest of Trinidad and Tobago. And with that, Chatter is an East Indian individual. And I would like to hear your contribution. Chatter, let me hear your contribution on this thing here.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Jeffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, Charles. Good night to everybody on the panel and everybody who listens to me, right? And I listening to everybody pleading with the government, right? So let's go, Johan. Good night. I listening to everybody pleading with the government trying to let go Johan Harry, right? And you're pleading with our government who do not care about the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, who don't have no heart, don't have no sympathy, don't have no empathy. How do you plead with somebody who do not care? Who do not care if we live or we die? How do you come to reasoning with that person? This government leading with an iron fist. You understand? And anybody who speak out, no matter what race, once you speak out against the government, we being locked up, we being thrown to a detention center, just like Karen Alexis, just like Johan Harry, just like the Alyssa Phillips, Jason. Anybody speak out against this government is being detention center. You understand? And this is the same government who said nobody will love us like the way they would. This is the government who told us coming around for election, speak out and let your voice be heard. You understand? And now they take a 360-degree turn and punishing the people. Anybody try to speak out, or they're backing the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago in a corner. You understand? And anybody try and say anything about this government, or they're punishing we. Is that how you plan to lead Trinidad and Tobago in the next 4 years? With fair and in is that how you plan to lead Trinidad and Tobago? And when the citizens will say enough is enough, they can't lock up all our way. If we come out with numbers, they cannot lock up all of us. We have to stand together and tell this wicked, evil government enough is enough. You understand? It's numbers, they cannot lock up all of us. And if we come out and shut down this country, you understand? And show this wicked, evil government, because all you're sitting down there and all you're thinking, but it could come knocking on all your front door. It could come knocking on all your front door. And that is what you're waiting for you to reach home on all your front step. This government is the worst government ever lead Trinidad and Tobago. I never see this in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. I never see this. people, we don't have a freedom of speech, we don't have a freedom of movement. You understand? What is this, a police state? Is Roger Alexander turning Trinidad and Tobago into a police state? You understand? And this man can stand up and say that how the PDO what the issue and is not political. But anybody speak out against the government is getting a detention order. So that is not political? Is that not political? Boy, Roger Alexander, like you really don't have no brain. You have a mustard seed for a brain. I don't know what is, boy. This government, and if we don't stand up and say enough is enough, we will just take whatever they push down we throat, we'll take it. That's my contribution is.
Well, I mean, that was very interested. That was a very interested conversation here from East Indian individual, somebody who is seeing this government for what it really is. Now, before we enter the general discussion here tonight, Trinitons, what's your contribution here tonight?
Good night, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's start with the fact that these people trying to tell us that this is not politically motivated. The message to them is nothing you all have ever told us came to pass. So why should I accept what you say now? It is obvious. We do not need Ole to come and tell us it's not politically motivated. We have an emotionally fragile, attention-seeking government. Weaponizing the system to soothe their ego for political points. It is obvious. Anyone offend or bruise their emotion, the same service that's supposed to protect us is being used against us. And that is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. I'm not going off point, but I just want to show you all something. The same way Alexander saying that he didn't the numbers are off with the where the UK did a what is it, a survey on the crime situation in Trinidad. He trying to say they're lying. I love how the British High Commission stand up and hit him at a slap of intelligence. Let him know, yo, they say no, you cannot take the international public intelligence for granted the way you're doing the Trinidad and Tobago population. These people know what they're doing. Get your house in order. So it's the same thing. They're trying to deceive everybody in every way they can. They weaponizing the system against us, and we cannot accept it. Because that, imagine this, we, the taxpayers, paying the police service, saying that they don't have enough men or the officers burn out. If they stop taking instructions for political motives, they might have enough power to do the job that we're paying them to do. It is clear it is politically motivated, and it is unacceptable. It just shows their incompetence. They don't have skill, they don't have reason, they don't have what it takes. Just make way, make space for people who have what it takes to get the job done. The country is suffering. And when it comes to Johan Harry,
yeah,
freedom of speech and freedom of expression belongs to us. Yes, they could have cautioned him with a warning. What they're doing, again, is because it bruises the emotions of those in power. So they're using the system to suppress him. It is unacceptable. We cannot, as a people, we cannot. Let me say this. If 10 years ago somebody did tell me this would have happened in Trinidad, I would have tell them, now they don't know Trinbagonians. We just stand up for what we want, and because that's what we know. Nothing was given to Trinidad easily. Everything we have, we fought for. So I would have never believed that our population would have lie down and take this. But here we are today. It's a sad place to be. Anyway, I'm right here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, Trinitons, now I hearing everybody here on this platform. You see, there are a lot of things that is missing the eyes of the public. And tonight, with the assistance of the people on this panel here, I am going to expose something to you here, what we have been observing. We here in this country have been observing rage baiting by the police service and by the social media activists, because they call me, certain people call me today, and the plan is for we to come out here and say all type of inflammatory statement and to behave a certain way in the public. So the choking you, the choking you, the choking you. And I ain't seeing and I ain't understanding. But before we open up the panel, the entire discussion here tonight, let me replay this Jason X video and I understand what the police does do in certain instances when the warrior talk stupid. They say, what you are saying? But you come out the street now, you ain't see a stupid, they come in easy and tell you that. And when you start to flare up, when you start to operate in a certain way, they decide to put the handcuff on you. This is an example of what we call rage baiting from the Trinidad and Tobago police. And all of them, I would have seen the protests. We analyze all the video. Or you should be ashamed of yourself. Who are you receiving instructions on? I know this thing here from start to finish. You know how long I protesting? The only lock up and charge that I ever get is protest. And we know the language that the police does tell you when you're in these protests to provoke you to behave in a certain way. We have been mapping out that from years to come. So Trinidad and Tobago, when they come, because we are going to march, we are going to hit the streets, and we are going to fire the UNC government democratically. Because we ain't taking this. I ain't taking this thing here at all. Let me play this video here from Jason. And we go understand, and we open up the panel for a discussion unlike no other here tonight, because we are Bernard here, we are Sharon here. I want to hear a discussion after we play this video here tonight. Let me play this video.
Still haven't mercy. Murder is murder. Murder is murder. Murder is murder. And you can language being used. What's the language? Any violent language process will be it. You said obscene language. Any violent language. All you can just run me out on the street. It's not democracy. People pass them. Or they jump in me alone. I just have a stay on that for me. Trinidad and Tobago police service show the friendly to me. That's all they're doing. All kind of people passing, or they run none of them. I talk and you're running me. You leave your office to come down here to run me. You're no shame, man. You just like a barrow. From obscene language. Nobody know the cuss. I guess.
What's that? Tell Robert call me now.
What are you for coming in the road? That's true. Okay, yeah. Let me go. I don't want to hear you. Let me go. Let me go now. Let me go. Let me go. I don't want to hear you. No, you don't go away. Not here, my book. That is not here. Yeah. You're weaponizing the state against secrecy. That's what I'm doing. Weaponizing that is better. What is question? And then what? What is that? The assistant commissioner is weaponizing the state. When you Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't.
Well, to the panelists, I'm sure you understand what we now see there. I need not go into the rest.
Hands up, don't shoot.
But what is your
Right,
depiction, Bernard? I started with you this evening. What is your depiction about what you see there? You know what is rage baiting?
Yeah, well, what we've seen here are the actions of our Banana Republic police service. Now, to say that the whole service behave in that manner, of course, it will be wrong. But when you have senior officers who can't take talk because he call him a girl, you know, who can't take talk because he said, hey, only weaponizing the police, you know, service against the citizens, only weaponizing, the state doing that, weaponizing that. When you have people so thin-skinned, and I said it before in the beginning when I started to contribute, I said that you have people who dealing with a whole set of feelings, big men. You say something about them, they're quick to jump. You know why? Because we give them the right to have a gun and a badge, and we have a constitution. And even with regard to the constitution, they can't even do the wrong thing right. This is how I see it. They cannot do the wrong thing right because here they are in full view of the public and the international community because it's not like long time, you know. A man in Japan, a man in Africa, a man in England watching the same nonsense and saying, what kind of thing is that? That had to be a banana republic. And they're arresting people because of old talk. And there's a parallel with that and what happened with Calypso. Because it's the same voice. Because what Jason is saying there is what a lot of people, and I want to tell all you something tonight. I hear people saying, yeah, yes, some people frightened, but more people vex. Yeah, some people frightened to talk and they might have to walk on some eggshells because, you know, they're vindictive and nasty. But people getting more and more angry. And somehow it's not coming into these small brain people heads. Because at the end of the day, I can't understand how a police officer could use the service to grab a man for saying something, to jail a man for saying something, and probably assault a man for saying something, and the man lock up, it is alleged he gets some licks, and could go home now to the family and sit down and laugh and make a joke with the family and sleep well. I can't understand what kind of character is do that kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, as I said before, the real people supposed to stand up and say anything with the Johan case too are the religious people. But yet what we see is the police being used by the state to satisfy the emotions of politicians. Everything is political, Roger Allen. That is what you want. The public have an opinion, and there is no law that says that you cannot have an opinion. And this whole thing, even with Jason, all them things is just persecution. People know, people seeing that. Calypso was persecuted, mics were turned off. People say some like bottom Africans who were judging, and they say all kind of things. That is up to them. That is their opinion. But at the end of the day, we saw where they try to shut up people, the voice of the people, which is part of a culture, you know. They try to lock down our culture, but you can't go into anybody else's culture and say anything. You cannot control what anybody else is doing with their culture, but it becomes so easy to use persons, and I'll go back to what Reddy said, to use persons. And I would say it, of African descent, to oppress people of African descent. But when you damn well know that all you, and I will talk about it later.
Listen, guys, excuse. I had to leave because I'm going and jump in my car to drive.
Okay,
so
then.
I may try to pay it back on when I get in.
Okay,
be safe, girl, be safe. Yeah. So they're using persons for the owner. When you look at it on a scale, on a level scale, all who they send home and all who they still sending home, right? And the kind of damage they're doing to the place. The damage they're doing to the place. And then you want to involve the state functions, the state security apparatus, right, to persecute people and to lock up people without even charge. What is the charge? And this is where it come down with all the thing about asking Kamala to release him. She not doing that. She said within her speech when she was fighting Vasant Bharat for the internal elections, that was before the general elections a couple years before. She said, I'm trying to get rid of the racists and the caste system thinkers and those who feel they're entitled to. I'm trying to get rid of them from the party. She said it twice in the newspaper. And you want to tell me, I'm asking her tonight, have you gotten rid of them? Because what I seen is an appeasement for them. Because I am not seeing what is the law? Roger Alexander had to come out and the commissioner, where is the law to lock up you and Harry?
Yes.
For saying something.
Yes.
Where's the law? Where is the law? So where the law, this create justification, That is what justifications come from the word what? Justice is part of it. So if there is no law, there is no justification, so there is no justice in it.
You see, Mr. Bernard, it's the same thing that they're trying to use the law to take away the PNM headquarters at this point in time. There are two aspects of law that they are natural laws and they are legal positivism. But tongue getting tired. They are legal positivism. This is something that they could go in parliament and make up anything. Anything could be law. Yeah. But there is something that is called natural law. And we have to understand is if it is natural to lock up a man for perspectives that he would have made based on a religion.
And is it natural to go behind your political opponent's headquarters? Is it natural? Is that something moral? Is that something ethical? And is it well thought of? Because let me tell you, in my interview, when they tried to look up my book, I told the newsy that if Kamala is ever elected again, she would lead us to civil war. That is in the newspaper. You could Google my name. You would see a full 2-page interview. And I mentioned that when you want to go behind persons' political headquarters and say is this and is that, that means you're creating a nasty division. And you don't care because you tell yourself you could call in U.S. Marines and you could tell yourself you could have these elite services to protect you. But at the end of the day, history proves that no political party, no dictator, no human being that ever tried to oppress people ever lasts long. Because what they do is create a tsunami of discontent, they create a tsunami of hate, and that same anger baiting we talk about, that same, anger baiting, which are the pushing you, where do they think it will exit? Where do they think it will reach? Right now, you have people, since last year, no food on their table, they're stressed out. Well, plus you take away money, so the garbage not even being collected. Plus school coming up, the car buy school book, what it is you're doing to people. And that is being done with no conscience whatsoever, because the same person, so she says she's going to get rid of in the party, the caste system thinkers love that. The racists love that. They love that. So I want to know who running the party, who calling the shots, because all they saying, asking Roger Alexander, he cannot do that. He can do nothing of his own. He's taking instructions because he has proven that he has not the intellectual capacity to operate on his own when using natural law justice. Because there is always that flexibility within the law that leaves for the discretion of the person who have authority to do or to don't, to make a decision. And what all we have seen is extreme decisions. There is no discretion with any of the actions. Everything, they take a big hammer or a sledgehammer to kill our ants. And this is what is taking place. The freedom of speech is our ants, but it's something the truth cannot be contained. No one owns it. No politician owns it. No intellectual owns it. No political party could take it and manipulate it without everybody seeing the truth for what it is. And we see it in Trinidad and Tobago. We see it, we feeling it, we know what's going on, and more people getting angry. You understand? That is what's going on.
And it's only one thing, you know. We must hit the streets. I do business with what law they could bring out, because that is not a law. That is not a natural law, a matter of fact, to stop a man from protesting, to stop somebody from peaceful demonstration. I'm not letting this government frighten me, you know, because at the end of the day, in all courts around the world, I want to see how you lock up somebody for going against the nonsense that's taking place here in Trinidad and Tobago. And we standing up for it peacefully. I want to see how you lock them up. That is why it reached to here in Trinidad and Tobago. You want to lock up people. That is not law. In no dictionary, not in the Archboard, no way. No way.
You understand? This is the second time around. You remember in 2013, they had ordered armored vehicles and body bags, an armored SUV, because this is part of a plan that couldn't come true in the last time that they were there. So they get back opportunity to continue it. This is what I see. Because they were ordering body bags. They were ordering armored vehicles. That's in the papers. Even in the T&T Marai wrote to address that, because why are you doing that? Why are you ordering this? Why? Because you're pushing people to a point where you expect them to come out and you're going to kill them. That is the intention, to create havoc. And that, here is man, this whole thing is about marginalization. There's about a sort of apartheid system where you lock off people in the areas where they live, better known as Zoso. And this is something to intimidate freedom of speech using force. It have no laws, because there are no laws to have Johan Harry where he is. And they're still searching for laws to justify certain things. So what this is then, what we experiencing, this is the beginning of our apartheid state.
What we are experiencing is that our government, they had the majority to go on in parliament and to pass something that is not natural. There is something that they call natural law. A man should be with a woman. That is natural law. What goes up, what goes up must come down. That is natural law. To tell a man that he cannot demonstrate against his oppressors, that he don't have rights, he have less rights more than the people that oppressing him. That is not natural. That is legal positivism. That is what they're doing.
There's evil.
Yes, it is. And Martin Luther King and Malcolm X would have vehemently go against something like that. And I know we have other people on the panel. So good night, Steve. To the new people on the panel, we have what we have this. Bad TV. Let me hear what is your contribution here tonight. Bad Trinity TV.
Good night, everybody. I am wondering, because I was here before, and I said to the population, the only way.
Hold 1 second. We hearing from Xavier. We get a phone call. Xavier, good night.
Okay, no problem.
President, good evening. President, good evening. What I find is so dangerous about this. You could give a minister, a homeland minister, he could wake up a morning and decide. You see this individual, John? He said something 2 years about me, and I go in at you. This is what this law boils down to, you know. This has now been treated as a law or a weapon that the state has, that the government has, that they could now choose to go at anybody they choose. And what they have demonstrated by going at the 1%, who is known, who has a proclivity for having money or financial resource in this country, they send a subliminal message to Trinidad and Tobago. We went for these people, and they can't do anything about and y'all can't do anything about it. Anytime all they choose to open all their mouth, we are going come, and we are going to come hard at all you. As the AG loves to say, Petron awaits you. So now Tobago, we have to open up our eyes, you know, because what Mr. Jeffrey is saying here tonight, he's absolutely 100% correct. This is a natural law. Trinidad and Tobago, the last time I know we are under a system of democracy where we have the right to gather and protest peacefully within the parameters of the law. If we see something that is not right, if we see something that we do not dislike as a country, we have that in the law books. We can come and do that once we get, I believe, is a piece of approval from the Commissioner of Police. We have all right to take the streets. But then you have to understand that when you're dealing with a dictator, they call Dr. Rowley a dictator, but when you're dealing with a dictator, they fight you in different form and they fight you in different fashion. They fight you in a way, you can't sing against them, you cannot protest against them, you cannot go on social media and say nothing against them. Even if we have little forums like this, they do whatever they have to do so they can now block the lie from coming out. So now in Tobago, we have to open up our eyes because you don't know what preposterous or absurd law they're going to bring again. They have been targeting every component in this country when it comes to your freedom and your expression of freedom. As a matter of fact, you can't even drive the road now. If you drive in the road and you go along in a pothole and you turn the corner and a police, and you bend the corner and a police say your light break or something happen in your car due to that pothole, you could now run the risk of paying an exponential amount of money for that. This is what this government has continued to do to the people of this country, and for God's sake, according to what Mr. Jeffrey is saying there. And Mr. Jeffrey and like others, the entire panel is making a clarion call to Trinidad and Tobago. If all they want to sit down and be in the dark and be voiceless and be mute and let them continue to erode our rights, what all they get, all they take, how all they make, all they bet, all they rely on it. But you see me, I am one willing to be strategic and get up and continue to speak in my defense. I am one who will always get up and continue to fight and fight and fight and fight, because that is what we have to do. We cannot let this government see us as being weak and being vulnerable, and anything they do, that we just accept it. We have hope, Trinidad and Tobago. And let's not talk about political hope as joining the next item, but we have voices like Candace and Renaissance who taking time from their daily basis, spending resources to come out and let this program be heard by all and sundry to Trinidad and Tobago. We have to get up and do something. I want to leave you with a quote, and I know Renaissance used a man a quote. There's a quote that goes, in the end, you don't remember the words of your enemy, but the silence of your friend. You understand that? We cannot be silent no more. It's time for us to get up, and we have to let Kamala and Bissett and the UNC know we have a voice. We have a voice. There's not enough prison to hold 1.5 billion people in Trinidad and Tobago. We have a voice. Enough is enough. If this is a mother who says she loves, we want a stepmother. We don't want this. We want a stepmother. If you say you're a mother and you love Trinidad and Tobago, we want a stepmother. I locked on and I listening.
Trinidad and Tobago, I am not afraid. I am not afraid of this government. And without fear or favor, I would have seen the promised land. And I don't care when I go outside and demonstrate, or I could send 10 police, or I could send 15 police, or I could send 20 police, or I could send how much I want. I ain't going there to thief nothing. I am going there to let the government know in this country that they're on foolishness, and I do not want them there again. That is my democratic rights. That is natural law. Not this thing that are going in parliament and they're getting who they want to approve what they want in the parliament. That illegal positivism. They make up thing and they get people to pass it without thinking that people have rights. We have a voice. The first law, the first natural law that come from God is your rights to be heard. When Cain slew Abel, God know he already do it. But he asked him, he said, what you do? He give him a chance to explain himself. But this nasty stinking UNC government want to take that from us. Or you understanding now? They want to set oppression on our heads. And we can't say nothing. Don't protest in front of the parliament. Don't protest so. Who the hell is Kamala Prasad, Mr. Sir? Trinidad don't belong to our government, you know? Trinidad and Tobago belongs to the people. That is why we have the constitution. The hell? And what we say matters. And what is going on in this country, I cannot take it again. And my people, the people in the village, in the country is crying out. But the whip, the oppression. You lock up somebody, you put Johan behind bars. That was a statement to the rest of the public that if you don't fall in line, we're going to take you down. Or you put Hadids behind bars. That was a statement to the public that if you don't fall in line, we are going to deal with you. But my cause, Trinidad and Tobago, is just. And what I am saying here is that this oppression that coming from the UNC camp, it have to stop. And if 10 of us, because I know many of you in Brave, if 10 of us have the belly and the testicular fortitude, meet me on the streets at a day to be announced. I'm afraid no UNC government. None. Put that in our head. So the people on the rest of the panel, so there are many of you that are there that is want to speak. Or you could go ahead. Go ahead to the rest of the panel. We have this we have Tony. We have Tony. Tony, what's your contribution here tonight? Tony, come now, man. Where's your contribution?
Mr. Jeffrey, Mr. Ricardo was there before, you know.
Right, so.
I believe.
Where Ricardo?
Good night, good night. Good night. Now, watch my. Good night. So I listening to the panel here and watch my. What I was telling. Now we have other activists on TikTok. When I tell you is waste of time. With them watching protests. Yeah, well, one of them say gone are the days of picking up placard and marching. How dotish that is say on TikTok. That was telling you them behind TikTok saying on the side them is protest activists and they right and they're telling themselves they're protesting. And I like them these people mad. This is the first one I hear ain't saying the streets is where you had to be and people doubting that on the TikTok, you know. People doubting that, you know. People saying no, we could protest online. People in America just do it, and I like this is real dotishness, boy. People, you don't protest online. You understand? You have to go out and you smoke. Protesting online is smoking you win, you know. If you're not out on the road, you know.
What we need to do is to come out in our multitude. We need to come out in the streets within our tens of thousands. The hell with SOE. The hell with Zone. Who the hell is Kamala Prasad, Mr. Sir? We ain't coming to cause no harm to nobody, you know. We want you out of government. And if you want to kill we in the street, boy, you go ahead and do what you want. There's a God. And I am not going to stand here on any platform and say we should lead them and everything. Yes, we should follow the law. Yes, we should follow all what is saying and obey the law to the fullest. But that law is against my rights. My right is to protest and tell Kamala Prasad Bisasa and any government that done foolishness. It is against my rights as a human being to allow this government to do what they want and how they want it. That is against my rights. And I will stand to defend my rights. Or you have to understand what is natural law outside here. You know? When it had laws in America where black people can't use white people toilet. It had laws so that it had laws that one man could own another man. And yet still in this country, we see in a government proclaiming a law that they must oppress us. And we can't say nothing. We can't march. Why the hell with all you that? Bring 10 detention order. I ain't talking nothing to shut down and to cause harm to nobody. You know? I want Kamala Prasad Bisasa to understand that the citizens of this country have rights. And you must respect those rights. The hell with these double traffic fines. The hell with all these taxes. The hell with the closing down of all these establishments. I ain't taking that by. Oh, you mad or you know people hungry? You know people in nothing?
I will tell you. And I will tell you this, it are people on the internet calling themselves activists, and when they hear people protesting here, what they saying on their life now, I am not going out there today, I am not thinking with this protest, and it's like them wasting time, you know. Them calling themselves activists on TikTok and wasting time, you know. You see first when I tell you it's a real fake activist on TikTok, talking about this political, this, and they're not making a move, they're just talking on the internet. That is all they do. I tell you, they smoke on any win once nobody out there protesting. I'm telling you, because to make mainstream, this not making mainstream. That is why it had to be out there.
It had to be outside. And we have to let them know that we're serious. We have to let them know that we are serious. Who we are here? We have Tommy. Tommy, I want to hear from you. I don't know if you're just there saying nothing on the live. You know, let me hear what is your contribution. Tommy. Tony.
Tony, what's your contribution? Well, then they need to prolong Tony because it's either Tony sleeping or he's just Tony blocking up space. Somebody else.
Tony outside. Yeah, Tony outside. You can watch it live somewhere. You could go on YouTube. You can see the live on YouTube. You can go on the Workers' Rights 868 page, or you seen it right up there. Go on Workers' Rights 868 page. We go post the link on our Facebook page, Workers' Rights 868. And you can follow our short clips.
We are hangover.
Yes, we are the hangover. Yes, we are hangover. Hangover.
Yeah, man. Good night to everybody, man. How are you going?
Boy, we going good.
Well, once everybody living and once everybody's, breathing and could live in this time in here, that's what we going through now. I listen to everybody speaking on this particular situation with Kamala and the SOE. There are a couple things we have to also understand is that Christine Kangaloo is the president also signing off on these SOEs. So the president could and could not sign it. If she don't want to sign, she don't have to sign. But I believe she will sign because after the political battering Kamala put on she on the independent bench the other day, so she will try to be playing balance in this scenario here. But what you're seeing happening now with this whole state of emergency is something that I hear this former head of the national let's know it. The former head of the of the defense staff, Mr. Dindial. He made a statement saying that how UNC using this SOE as a political, oh God, I'm trying to remember the word he used, boy. I'm trying to remember the word he used. As a political, as political management. Yeah, this is what he said. As political management. Because if you watch what they're doing with it is target, everything is about targeting the enemy. They build the whole campaign from way back when they've been speaking on this. This is what they wanted to do, go after. They say they're going after the 1% and the PNM hierarchy and to bring down the PNM. Understand? And also, by the time, they're using it as a distraction and all too, to what going on in the country, on a real. Because, for instance, as you see now, Metanex come and closing down one of about a couple of their places in Point Lisas. So I mean, a couple of good set of people going and go home here now. So we're talking about the ammonia plant, methanol plant, and also nutrient shutdown, which is the fertilizer. All of these are forex bringers into Trinidad and Tobago. Major forex bringers where money is concerned. And management. So, and especially when you're going, you see these UNC going into all these things where they're taking loans upon loans upon loans, and they want to get more money so to pay this and pay whatever. And the debt. And they've been, and if you watch recently too, a lot of, not only in Trinidad, economists from outside of Trinidad warning this government about that, the debt that they're putting the country in. Understand? Warning this government. And these are the things that the UNC are hiding and trying to cover up with all this bacchanal, because all they know UNC. When there was in 2011, 2010, this was the same playbook. They had this thing about, they did lock up 17 people, which was Robocop and all of them, plot to kill Kamla, this, that. In that time, when they did lock up, or die, so 7,000 people get locked up, and maybe one person get charged in the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. Out of 7,000. 7,000, remember 7,000 people got arrested in that SOE, and they had to free them. 17 people, they said that, who held for a plot to kill Kamla Prasad Bisesan. All 17 people got off, and also sued the state and won money. And lo and behold, when we get to find out all what UNC was doing behind closed doors, where they financed SARS and them, it come back to this whole scenario to what start this whole bacchanal here now to it. With them and the Hadids and the Sabdas and the Hadfords and all of these people who UNC aiming at. Well, I don't understand what has been going on with the UNC too as a party, and as my boy said before, Bernard, party financiers and the controlling and who want to control, because the party financiers find that if you understand what I'm saying, that their race are people supposed to be on top. Everything, because if all them must watch the line attacks that they have been doing for all these years, every time they always measuring around that type of attack when they're attacking KFC or they're attacking any business that have Africans and working, all these kind of things. You have all of us have to watch what has been going on. And this is the reality that we face. It is not to say that we want to create any type of, because this is what they want to create too. This racial, have this constant racist animosity and building all this tension between the race. But we as a people have to be brighter and smarter than them to engage. have to know the correct way to fight and stand up and bring the realities to the people so the people can understand what it is. Because let me tell you something, you know, a lot of Indian people not supporting this dotishness we're going on with UNC and standing up against them for the bullshit. So we want to be going down the road and stating and this and that, everybody in our race business. But we understand the hierarchy of the party because this is a basic principle that is used by plenty of these type of people in power. When they want to keep the power, they divide and conquer and use the poor people to fight amongst themselves for the crumbs and pay in the race, like what's going on in America. And just like what Ramble say and all too. Just watch what MAGA do in America, you're going to know what is UNC next step. Because everything they're doing, they're following Trump and them, and the type of thing Trump and them doing in America. Understand? So there's a lot of things, boy. We just watch what's going on right now. At this point in time, we really have to support. I fully support you on that mindset what you're going on with your brother. If we want to start a proper time that we had to come out,
yeah, we had to
come out and we had to stand up.
Yeah, we had to come out. And at the end of the day, we ain't committing no crime. This is not a crime that we committing. You understand? And I just saw there, I would have gotten a call. Let me tell you something, Or you watch me good Trinidad and Tobago. And when you understand me, there is not no I playing thing here. There is not, I don't understand the dangers that are taking place here. I was now called and cautioned by a policeman. And I'm saying this. I ain't come here to commit no crime. What I am saying is this. Nobody rights must infringe on nobody else's rights. If the government of this country see it fit to call a SOE to stymie or to stop crime from taking a particular angle, I support them 100%. But this SOE that we are in Trinidad and Tobago is unjustified. It isn't justified at all. I don't support this SOE that this Kamala Prasad regime have we in over here taking away my rights, my freedom to tell you, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and protest outside the parliament day and night. Until you come out of there, you're taking away my rights to do that. I come to a conclusion that you cannot govern Trinidad and Tobago. I come to a conclusion that Roger Alexander is a dunce. Alistair Guerrero failed. Your ministers and them is unfit. That is the conclusion that I come to. And I am willing. I don't pack my bag already to stay outside the parliament day and night. Day and night. Until you go from there. This SOE is infringing on my rights to do so. Several of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago want to march. Several of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago want you out of there. And want the population of this country to know that what you are doing us in this country, Kamala, you are oppressing us. Yes, I know you're watching the live because I was just cautioned that this live going on in our police station. This live going on in our police station. And I want the police to know that I am not against law and order. But what going on in this country is foolishness. And somebody must be brave enough to call it out. How much are you? I mean, $1 million was put in place that if you get killed in the line of duty, $1 million would have gone to your family. How much are you get that? How much? None. None. But yet still, Barry Padarat and them keeping black tie party for Christmas, shutting down work all over Trinidad and Tobago. And we mustn't protest. We mustn't demonstrate. We mustn't tell Kamala Prasad Bisesa that she is unable to govern this country. You holding strategic SOE after SOE to do what? To hush me up? To take away my right? My natural right? Yeah. But I ain't taking that from you, boy. If you want to come. I call in a national day. I shut down. National day.
And they keep the extension. You know what they're doing? UNC have 26 seats in parliament, right?
Uh-huh.
They using this because you can't keep a SOE for 6 months unless you get a special majority in parliament, the 60%. And they use the 26 seats, and really the 60% threshold is 28 seats. So they're using Tobago. So Tobago putting in their 2 seats with their 26 seats to keep the extension of the SOE. That's how they get it to keep it.
Yep.
Because they have the 3/5 majority power in parliament. Right? And they're using their special powers and or I could say manipulating the constitution in a way to suit them now.
Yes.
Because remember, this is a whole bunch of lawyers, you know. It's the AG, it's Kamla, it's all of them is a whole bunch of lawyers, so they very well know the laws from constitutional law to criminal law, and all of them so there is a whole big thing. Understand? So they know what they're doing in certain things. But the thing is about it, there are many mistakes and trippiness they're doing along the way too, in the manner how they're going about it. So when this SOE cannot no longer come thing, that is where the problem will come for them. Especially where it comes to people using the court to sue their backside. Understand?
Well, here is hangover. Just before election, Kamala would have said, empty the matic.
Yeah.
And knock it on them. And call my name, I am Kamala. All of a sudden she afraid of assassination. Boy, you give me a break in this place, yeah?
No, all of these things is playbook style, is basic UNC playbook, you know. As I said, this is not the first time we've been through this joyride already. And this is something like people who like me for the last couple of years been warning people about. Because since 2013, plenty of these things I talk about and I telling people from thing come up. Last time UNC they take down one of my page, they used to
well, I understand. I understand. Just so hangover. We seen somebody, GD, would have now come up. GD, what's your contribution here tonight? GD, what's your contribution here tonight on the platform? Well, GD, while we pulling it down. Right, so Candace, what going on your side? Let me hear your contribution. I know we talk. What's your contribution? Because we're looking to close off here tonight and start back again tomorrow. What's your contribution here tonight?
Well. After hearing you guys, you know, Trinidad is not a happy place anymore. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are frustrated to the max. The government trying to take away all our rights for speaking, our rights for demonstrating, everything they're trying to take away from us. They even take away food from a man's table. They take away the rights of a man to work, to feed their family. What next? What next, Trinidad and Tobago? What next? I don't understand. This is not what we vote for. This is not what we was promised. This is not what we was promised. It's the UNC fighting so hard to destroy the PNM that they're destroying the people of Trinidad and Tobago in the midst. It's okay if the PNM and the UNC had the bacchanal, you know. Fight amongst all themselves. But what happened to the people? We didn't ask for this. We vote for change. We vote out the PNM and we put the UNC, thinking we will get a better life. No, our rights are being taken away from us slowly. And that is so unfair. You can't expect the people to be going through hardship and not complain. All they want to defeat the PNM. Well, do right by the people. Create jobs. Open all them trade school. Look ahead, they put the axe on Mile at My Path. And that is a problem I know for donkey years was them reforming young men. So it's everything all they want to take away. So when the youths have nothing to do and they're on the streets and they turn to a life of crime, what are going to do? Just build more jails? I wonder who really running this country, boy. Oh God, it's scary, you know, and it's frightening. And then you have stupid bloggers coming on here and trying to justify the suffering people going through. I don't know what it is going on again, you know. I really don't know. God had to come, boy. God had to do something, boy. Is everything on they're closing down, you know? It's everything, you know? The youths is the future generation, and if they do, what they gonna do? What will they do? School going and close. Plenty youths finish high school. Some looking for jobs, some looking to go back to school. Parents may not even have money to give them to finish further their education. There is no jobs. What can they do? What will they do? But I don't know. I pray God have mercy on Trinidad and Tobago, you know. And I find the government needs to stop use the police to punish people when they're coming out to talk for their rights. Stop weaponizing the police service. Stop doing us that. Or they want to put SOE or ZOSO or whatever to fight crime. Fight the crime. Because we clearly see that SOE upon SOE and crime is still being committed. That SOE is not to fight crime, it's to muzzle our mouths. But you can't expect us to stay quiet when people are on the breadline. And only feel it don't have a God. It have a God, you know. It have a God, you know. God don't like unjust and he don't like ugly. What are they doing to the people? We didn't vote for this. We didn't ask for this. This is not what all they promised us. So clearly we are seeing now, Mr. Jeffrey, and to everybody on the panel on YouTube and on TikTok, the promise that Kamala gave to us was a promise that is a comfort to fools because they fool us, they lie to us. Why will they do with that for no reason?
Before you go on, Candice, before you go on, breaking news. This is the power of the voices of the people. They would have just Joshua Samaru's father have secured bail. And that is the power of the voice of the people. And at the end of the day, if we continue to make our voices known, we are going to change Trinidad and Tobago. Go ahead, Warrior Princess.
If Justin Samaru's father could secure bail, what happened to Johan's Harry?
True.
What happened to Robocop's son? I forget his name. We ain't hearing nothing about a young man, you know. We ain't hearing nothing about a young man, you know. This is so frightening. I don't know who it is making up these laws, or whoever making up these laws, like they're setting up Kamala. Because they know Kamala is an aged woman and her memory is not permitting her to do as she used to be the person she used to be back then. Whoever it is setting she up, you know. Because I am positively sure, I'll bet my last dollar, this is the last reign in power ever again, you know. Because it's not just one race of people feeling it, you know. It's everybody feeling it, you know. The ones who want to come and inject race, sad be the portion, because I know they're stupid. Because if you cut me and you cut them, it's the same blood. When you die, it's the same 6 feet. So you see that race thing? I just say people don't bring that by me, no. But as it is, how could you let a man go hungry and they had nothing to eat and expect him to complain? It have little children that does not have anything to go by. And when mommy and daddy cannot provide, how you could watch your children suffer? Yes, it might have people who can afford to live and party and go boat ride and go back in time or wherever. But what about the ones that really don't have Trinidad and Tobago? Oh, God. I want to ask this government tonight, where is all your mercy? Where is all your compassion for the people? Where they love that all you say, Miss Kamala Prasad Bisasa says she love us and she will take good care of us. Why are you turning on the citizens? People don't want to rob all you. We know we don't want all you back. But at least, oh God, show some mercy now.
To hell with them with that
Show
mercy
some
talk.
mercy now.
To hell with them. I tell you that one mercy we want. You want justice. To hell with the mercy thing. We could have none.
Yes, we want justice too. But
have
at
no
least,
mercy.
yes.
Do you understand who you're dealing with or what? These are heartless people.
This is the first time I would have ever come in encounter with something like this, you know. This is the first time, and every day, I feel I need counseling, you know. Every day I wake up, and my heart does be so full of sorrow when I see young men and women begging on the streets, you know. Literally begging, you know.
Look.
Candace, before we go on, I mean, reaching wind-up time, we have a new person there. I didn't see the name a little too far. I see as
Bianca,
right, Bianca. Bianca, what's your contribution on the platform here today? I don't know.
Bianca.
She mic off.
But she would hear still.
All
right, she mic is off.
Yes, good night.
Good night.
Hi, good night. I'm just listening. I think I made a mistake and come up.
Oh.
I'm listening to
But as
everything.
you hear, you can make a contribution. What are your thoughts on what Mr. Jeffrey, the news that Mr. Workers' Rights would have just bring across where Johan's father would have secured bail? What are your thoughts on that?
Warrior.
Don't be afraid.
To be honest,
don't be afraid. Just say whatever comes to mind.
No, well, I'm glad he got bail. Glad he got bail to come out and see his family and stuff. But so much things happening right now. Too much things happening right now. This country, I don't know now. Just sad. Really, really sad. I never thought it would have been like this, or it will have come to this step.
Wow.
You know? That's my contribution right now. Yeah.
Wow.
Just listening.
And you know the thing is, Mr. Jeffrey, before you go on there, I know I like to talk, but let me just say this. I thought when the UNC came into power, they would unite everybody.
What?
They would unite everybody. We know the country would be a little harder, but everybody will come together, pull together, and make things happen. But apparently, oh God, is sadness, is sorrow, is mayhem, is destruction. People are not alive in themselves. Young girls turning into prostitution to get as much as toiletries.
That's what they want.
It's sad. I like somebody. If I have any counselor listening, any shrink, anybody, I feel I need counseling, boy, because it's too much, boy. Like I losing my sanity, boy. Like I losing myself to see what taking place. I have young nieces, I have young nephews, I have children, I have grandchildren, and to see what is taking place now, what will happen to them in time to come? Oh God!
But for real,
it's too much to tell Jesus.
For real. So we have ZTT. We have ZTT on thing here. What's your contribution? We're closing up. Sometimes you have to come up early if you want to give a full contribution. We just start at 8. So go ahead, ZTV, TT.
All right.
All right, I just will make touch on contribution from what Warrior Princess was saying, right? I follow her platform and thing. And she just made a statement and said that she alluded to the fact that she told you and said that we would have united this country and thing. And I want to say that to me, I'm going to be genius because if you have been following the history of UNC, and if you was paying attention, you would have not made a choice like that. They are more culturally, is a party of more culture rather than people. And if you understand the political backdrop of UNC and what they do, they see about their people. And they are all about power. And two things UNC have always, since this Kamala 2.0 from since 2010, have strived under Jack Warner. And this is something I hold there, blame Jack Warner a great deal for what is happening presently today because of the fact that UNC has been a party always envious of the 1%. What we call is seen by this community. They have always the biggest goal. It wasn't just political power, it was financial power in that strata. And when you know people who are jealous and envious of you, they are very dangerous because that UNC demonized URP and CPEP. And when they had the opportunity in 2010 to 15, they took it and they gave it to their people. My mother always have a saying, when you see people bad talking, when you have, they want it more than you. Right? What we saw PNM go through the last 9 years was tribulation, financial crisis, international financial situation. Dr. Rowley wasn't the best prime minister. As a matter of fact, I wasn't a favorite of Dr. Rowley. But you know what? When you look at the bigger strata, Dr. Rowley did his best to steady this country. And people are ungrateful. We are ungrateful set of people. Because there are a lot of programs through all the monetary and financial crisis had in this country that PNM was stabilizing and was operating. People was getting paid, people was getting jobs, and all these things. You didn't see that, Warrior Princess. No, you saw? What you saw was you wanted $5 and you was getting $3. That is the problem. And we have to learn to be grateful in poverty before we could accept wealth.
Yeah, because a lot of people didn't understand the whole runnings of the country. And how money and how to pay our bills are being paid.
We have to know how to play our role in this as people in our system. Everything the 1%, the 1%, the 1%. Well, let me tell you something. You might never be a 1%, but if you look to capitalize on what PNM was doing for our entire nation, you might not be a 1%, but you would have been in a better position. And your sons, your grandsons, your neighbors, and all these things. So all these youths that you complain about it don't have nothing, that's on you. That is on you, because when you don't have vision and you can't see something and you can't see people for who they are. I saw UNC for who they is since then. They could not fool me. No amount of politicking and campaigning, and you was campaigning, and Jason was campaigning, because all they didn't understand. He didn't understand. And all these systems that PNM was setting up was for now. What UNC will be enjoying, the gas deal, this new deal, where the Dr. Rowley went and restructured when they was getting what UNC mash up. And take peppercorn price on the energy sector.
Xavier said to bring him back up.
I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying that when you're complaining, look at yourself in the mirror. You all need to take a cognitive look. And we as people, we need to look at things from a futuristic position. There were opportunities in this country for young people. We, especially young black people, and that was a problem for UNC people. Just imagine that. They have look who have all the jobs, who have all the the businesses who have all those, they have it. But
Zed,
let me wait. I want to finish this point. I will stop at this point. If we are saying that in this country there's a issue, there's a problem in a certain society of young people, and you have a government putting things in place, doing things to assist them, why it is you have a next party trying to destroy that and then complain about the same people? Are they really interested in getting people out of poverty, out of crime, out of things? They are not, because they don't look like you and me.
Yes.
That is what I'm trying to tell you to understand. This has nothing to do with bringing people together. They are culturally, they are about the self.
Yep.
And the quicker you can understand it in life, you would know how to navigate yourself through here. This political crisis.
Zed, before you think, what part of Trinidad are you from? I just asked it.
From the southern side, oil baron. I'm from right in Petrotrin.
Okay then.
And I believe, and here what's going on there. Before, I just want to say something quick. I believe this is one of the reasons why, my buddy said, is that we Southerners, and we live in the UNC base, so we understand a little more different than people in the East-West corridor,
That is a very valid point. I will ride on that point.
Zed, I want to ask you one question, Zed.
Just now, people in the East-West corridor does not understand the Southern Peninsula, and what we enjoyed down in South, what we were exposed to, But what they did enjoy was the labor, the fruits of what happened in South. They enjoyed it in the East-West. I can tell you that. I'm sure about that. Because I'm not just I'm maybe from South, but I know all over Trinidad.
All right, Zed, I want to ask you a question. So you were saying, if I want to paraphrase what you are saying. Are you saying that Candace was wrong for exposing some shortcomings within the last regime?
Who is Candace?
Warrior, sorry.
Okay, sorry. No, I'm not saying she's wrong. What I'm saying is that she needs to reflect on herself and her choice that she made in the beginning, because now she's complaining.
No, well, let me tell you. Let me give you a little insight, Zeddy. What you have to understand is that I don't know how you view the political spectrum, but the last general election was not lost by the policies of the PNM. The policies of the PNM have always been substantial. The PNM lost the election because they turned their back on the foundation. What Candace would have exposed was the foundation, the shaking of the foundation, if I could coin it for better terminology. When you have 100,000 plus people choose to abstain their vote from a party of 70 years, it speaks volume of neglect. If you look at the PNM strongest areas, PNM strongest areas, such as places like Laventille and so on and thing, these places were barely won. So what Candace have done here, Candace has had light and have teach them a lesson. When you go back into office and you assume the position of running the affairs of this country, run the affairs, but do not forget the foundation. And I agree with Candace.
Don't forget the base. Don't forget the base.
I want to say one more thing, Zed. There's a disparity. There's a political disparity in this country compared to the UNC. UNC could do what? But their followers will always take care of them. Will always follow them. You know why, Zed? Hold on, I close on. You know why, Zed? Because the UNC has a proclivity of looking off their base. You see this kind of thing with PNM want to do with shake the foundation, it has to stop.
Well, this guy from on the NGC board, the head of the NGC board, what's his name?
Ramdeen.
Well, I'm going to tell you what Ramdeen said. When they had the issue with nutrient, if you know the people who was working in nutrient, you know what Ramdeen said? Ramdeen said, I don't care what we do. He said the people who work in there look like we and they will still vote for us. That was paraphrasing and exactly what he was saying. I want all to understand a statement like that.
He said the people here look like us.
And they will
look like
still
us, so they will even though what they do will harm them, the vote wouldn't move.
That was then. That was then. This is now. You see, this is it now. The kind of pressure we feeling right now. This is not like long time. It's a new generation. It's a new generation. And if I, who was a diehard PNM, since I small in Pampers, I holding the little bally say, could I stand up and say, hey, what's going on? All you forget the ground. All you forget the people on the ground. And I mean to say Stuart Young was an example too.
Yes.
But when I stood and asked him the question, what he did, I didn't want to them disrespectful. What he did, remember, we are the employers, you know. Right. They are the employees, and he didn't stand up to listen to what I had to say. He walked off. So he had put the icing on the cake.
What we supposed to do, as I said again, we have to understand our position as in terms of ethnicity, right? Yeah. And when I use ethnicity, this is not even about race. This is about understanding you. You have to understand how we are viewed in this society, right? And all the opportunities that exist. I can tell you something personally. They had opportunities in I think it was white person just signing up for the agricultural or something. So I was assisting that group of people in different locations to get young people to sign up. You know what was the outcome of that? You had to beg people, and not just beg them, you know. You see the parents who responsible for young people. You had to beg them to you know who was taking them programs on them? People who had, because they saw value in it. You know what you probably need that. We don't look for value and opportunity to advance ourselves. So we wouldn't work for less to get experience. We wouldn't sign up for a program for 3 months or 6 months to get a certificate. Other people, they understand long-term projection.
One thing
gave opportunities to young people for long-term projection. We didn't send we family and we didn't send them fit. You know we always talk for we want money. We want this, we want job, we want that.
Yeah, but as it is,
they want jobs, they want the opportunities so they can create their own jobs.
As it is, I stopped taking the blame.
That they can get their own contract as small as it is.
PNM have to wear some of the blame. You know why? They forget the ground.
I agree with you, Candice. I wanted to take
a warrior.
And Candice, you could use that stack, Candice. You could use that stack that 100,000 Candice stayed away from the polls in the PNM stronghold. Right. That is indicative of a constituency not happy with the thing.
But Xavier, I will tell you something. You know what's PNM biggest downfall? Marketing. Because the amount of things that they did, we didn't know. A lot of people didn't know.
Okay.
That is so true. Marketing was one of the biggest downfall.
Yeah, marketing.
I want to change the flow of the conversation a little bit. I know we're going down a road here, we winding down plenty, but it has so much issues that I would like to hear some of our perspectives on it. Now, if you look at the screen, you will see Khadija hit back, blame Port of Spain City Corporation for salary payment delay. And the thing about it is this man have been telling the government that we don't have no money for the longest while. And would have been communicating with the government that they don't have no money. How come Khadija, you see why we had to vote out the UNC? How come Khadija, now blaming him? That man said that months ago.
Well, I will make a short. Let me tell you something. Sometimes we don't need to. I believe sometimes see topics like that in a situation like this. It's very simple to solve. Very, very simple. Show me the books. If she said that she gave them money Let me see when, how much, when it was released, what it was for.
She
The
never
books
said she
don't
gave
lie.
them money. She said they did not do the administrative work to get the fund. They did not request the funds in basis of the term.
So what we doing? We keeping all right. If that what she said, what she's indirectly saying is that paperwork to stop people from getting from living.
That's basically what she said.
Everybody know government. Everybody know government is paying now and paperwork after. I
So
worked in the government system for
Oda was
years.
getting money all the time.
Oda was getting money all the time. How come
All
now?
the time.
The man would have been telling Khadija, I mean, hey, we ain't getting no we not money salaries, and would have been,
Right.
and the mayor would have been sending this correspondent to them.
But Renison, what about the budget? The budget was cut hugely.
Yes.
So she just talking a bunch of crap. The budget was cut. So we're getting
Because they
money.
put all the money
Let
in
me tell you
the
something.
UNC areas.
Yes.
But they're not
All the money went to the UNC
Yes,
areas
Lord.
where they
No, but
didn't needed
it
that.
is.
Where they didn't needed that.
Yes, and it have a list. There's a list with all the regions and all the areas that get the money and all who get cut. And for us, we get cut bad.
Let me tell you something. This is real.
All you just now, let me hear from Miss Dawn. Miss Dawn, let me hear your contribution. I know we didn't ask your contribution here tonight, and we have some wolves on the panel. Let me hear your contribution, Miss Dawn.
I should say good night to each and everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have much to say because I find it kind of disgusting when coming talking about the UNC. Really, really disgusting. And for Johan, I think the boy didn't do anything, and he only talked his mind. He gave vent to his own feelings. And look, so much things that they say about everybody else's religions.
Yep.
I mean, I am a Baptist, and people always talk about Baptist. The first thing when people hear about Baptist, what comes to their mind?
Obia.
That's right. Baptist like Obia. And people say these things on a regular basis. So I don't see nothing wrong with people talking about these people with the fake thing that they with the things that they worshiping. According to Miss Oliver, she does say the dainties. The dainties that they worshiping. So I don't find that making sense.
We don't have professional politicians.
Allow
Dawn to give her country.
She's not coming up and talking and giving a hearing to the people and or nothing at all of the sort. Corporations under real pressure. I mean, I work in a corporation for myself. Corporation under the stress because they're not giving they didn't do the rights with giving the money as supposed to how the PNM normally do, and that is why the Port of Spain area didn't get the money to facilitate the cleaning up of the areas. Look at the place how it is. Look at the place how it is. I think
Spite and wickedness.
we need God to intervene. We need God to cover Johan in the jail there and bless him and keep him safe. And we need to do something about this. And as long as you're all deciding and talking about people coming out, everybody ought to be coming out. I am willing to come out as well too, and everybody need to come out and do something about this and get these people out from there. Get them out from there. It's about time. We can't go through this for another 3 years and 8 months or 9 months again. You know much people will die and are not alive themselves.
Yep.
Because people can't take that no more and people get enraged. And as I should say, and I always say it, I think Miss Princess, I always on your program, I talk once or twice, and I always had to make that statement and say, they're looking for 1990.
Boy.
For 1990.
Yeah, they
want that to know. I don't want that to know. I don't want that.
We don't want it, but like we heading down that road.
Heading down that road.
And the thing is,
So that's my contribution.
Well, thank you, Miss Dawn.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you, Miss Dawn.
Thank you.
Welcome, Worry.
And here they say, I just glad. I mean, if 2 or 3 people, according to the Bible, if 2 or 3 people is gathered, he's in the midst. So God is here with us. He's here. So people.
One thing I just want to ask the police who listened, I want to ask them one thing. With all these programs closed down, with all these people lost jobs, what impact would that have on the same community that all are living in? And The reason why I'm asking that is because a chain reaction is being made. And Ole could never be comfortable with other people suffering in all the same communities for no good reason at all, but marginalization because of ethnicity and because of reasons that are unjust. Regardless of what, I would never forget that statement made by Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and I will always remember the statement by Satmaraj some years ago. Satmaraj said they want 50% of the police, 50% of the army, 50% of the nurses, and anybody saying they want 50%, they want 100%. That is what they want, 100%. Right? So I have to go now. I get in a call, guys.
And you see what's
right?
sad?
But thanks for the opportunity. I have to go.
Okay then.
Yeah, what's sad with it? The people that the programs that they take down, remember, is more like African people that are doing all these things. So that is why you see they cutting that, so that the main African must see trouble. You must see trouble. So that is the head where they're pushing.
So
more and most of the African areas.
So people, we coming up to wind up time. Well, we coming up to wind up time. We well over the time here this evening. I know the discussion is very interesting. There are people here with powerful perspective. People like Hangover. People like ZTT. So we will invite you on our broadcast again tomorrow, in which we will be continually discussing what we discuss here tonight, a matter of fact, and there might be more. But at the same time, Trinidad and Tobago, this is the Workers' Rights Platform. Tune in on Workers' Rights 868 on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And sometimes we website be running certain things. So when that time comes, we're able to pay and stabilize the website, we will be able to think. So what's everybody here, what's your closing statements? Or you don't take long, or you don't know we done over the time. What's your closing statements here on this platform here tonight before we close up shop? So we started with Dawn. We started with Dawn, and we're going right up the line.
My closing statement, I hoping that things should get better. And as we say, everybody come together and we try to do what we have to do to get this to get. We who have to make it better. So we have to get together and do what we had to do, despite the government or the police. We just have to do what we have to do and get everything in our order, and then everything will just come back to order, to fall back in place.
Okay then. Well, we have Mr. Lewis here. Mr. Lewis, what's your closing statement? I know you now come up for the night, but what's your closing statement? We can.
Good night, people. Each one help one until we reach to the top.
Good. Join us back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We start at 8 o'clock sharp, and we will start to take on people. I mean, a little bit after 8 o'clock, 8:30 when we done the editorial. So
I will be here.
Okay then. Well, we hoping so. We hoping that they come here after God. So we have
after God. Thanks for helping me.
Yes, man. So we have Brother Michael. Brother Michael, what's your closing statement?
Michael was in knockout.
Candace, Michael sleeping. Michael, oh God, boy. I mean, you want to be here. He's not all ragging. You understand? I don't know where you're playing in. Right. We have ZTV. ZTT. What's your closing statement?
Yeah, until we can get 10,000 plus more people outside SOU and USA, nothing will happen. We got to ride out this next 3 years.
We could get 10,000 people outside. We have to keep on advocating for it. ZTV, we want you outside here tomorrow again. So I'm hoping that you join us here on the panel here again tomorrow. So we have Hangover. Yeah. Hangover, what's your contribution?
Well, yes, I wanted to say something quick because something I wanted to say before. Just imagine if Kamala had the power of the Zoza, what it was pushing for, where she had taken away the president power to shut down any way she wanted to, just by this what they're doing here. And just remember too, they're going to bring it back up again in Parliament, because after 6 months, they can bring it back up again in Parliament. And now they have the Tobago seats with them. You never know what could happen.
Huh. So we have Xavier. Xavier, I know you does always be here on the program. What's your closing contribution? Tell me.
You cannot say you love Trinidad and Tobago and you don't want to speak up. If you love this country, you have to speak and you cannot remain silent. I said it and I'll say it again. In the end, you do not remember the words of your friend, but the silence of your enemies. Are you a friend or are you a foe?
True. So we are the lovely Candace Edwards, the woman that put Stuart Young in the place, that stop him with one finger shooting the Thanos. Candace Edwards, what's your closing statement?
Wow, I have so much to say and so little time, but nonetheless, I just want to urge the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, because these days I am in praying mode. We need some Holy Ghost spirit up in Trinidad and Tobago. We need the Baptist community. You see, the Baptist people, the mother, the father, the pointers, the seers, the all of them, and need for all to come out and wrap the earth and pray. Help us pray and beg God for mercy upon Trinidad and Tobago, because the country that I once knew it how it was is no longer. It is frightening. It is frustrating. It is stressful. You're seeing the look on the people's face on the streets. It is so tiring, and I don't know what's taking place, but I just want to just keep in prayer. When all you're praying, remember us in prayer. Remember Trinidad and Tobago. That's my closing contribution.
Well, thank you for being here, Candace, and tomorrow I want you here expressing yourself. Let me see if we can get that 10,000 outside here. Zoso or no Zoso. Zoso or no Zoso. So Trinidad and Tobago, I am calling on the national community. I am calling on the community outside here to understand what we are facing in this country. And why I'm saying that is this. We are facing dictatorship. We are facing our rights being taken away from us. We are facing a shutdown of the country, the organs that move and turn and build this country. We are seeing all of those things are being shut down by the government. And what we are doing, Trinidad and Tobago, we are calling on the national community to support us, to invest into this program. And from next week, we are going to launch our bank account. And we are asking all of our, we need equipment. We need to start to help other people. We need to help Trinidad and Tobago. We have to change the face of this country. We have to mobilize. There are things that needs to be bought when the time comes. Yes. And we have this jersey here that we are going to launch out. Enough is enough. This is the workers' rights new gear, street gear, a matter of fact, in which we are going to place outside here. Let me see if I could get it up before I close off this program here this evening. The new gear. The new workers' rights gear. Yes, let me put out that there. So when we hit the streets, it's something else. Yes. Let me put out that outside there. So you could see what we're talking about. So this is the new workers' rights gear. That when you hit the streets, Trinidad and Tobago, they will know enough is enough. And we ain't taking that. We ain't taking that at all. Yes, let me put that outside there. Right, so we have a back and a front. Workers' rights 868, straight across the chest. Enough is enough, Trinidad and Tobago. When we hit the streets of this country, in which we build, our forefathers build, This is the way. This is the way. And we will talk to our committee to see how we sell this to the public. My name is Venison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live on the Workers' Rights Network. Again, from next week, we are going to post out our bank account. Well, it will be a Republic bank account where we are asking various members of the community to donate whatever it is. Whatever it is. People needs to be rescued outside here. We can't do it alone. But if we pool our resources together, we could change the landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. The hell with this government. And with that, I am out. Free Johan. And with that, I say all.
The first responsibility that devolves upon you is the protection and promotion of your democracy. Democracy means more, much more, than the right to vote, and one vote for every man and every woman of the prescribed age. Democracy means recognition of the rights of others. Democracy means the equality of all in the eyes of the law. Democracy means equality of opportunity for all in education, in the public service, and in private employment. I repeat, and in private employment. Democracy means responsibility of the government to its citizens, the protection of the citizens from the exercise of arbitrary power and the violation of human freedom and individual rights. Democracy means freedom of worship for all and the subordination of the rights of any one race to the overriding right of the human race. Democracy means freedom of expression and assembly and organization. All that is democracy. All that is our democracy, to which I call upon all citizens to dedicate themselves on this our Independence Day. This is what I meant when I gave the nation as its slogan for all time: discipline, production, tolerance. Our national flag belongs to all of us. Our national coat of arms with our national birds inscribed therein is the sacred trust of all our citizens. So it is today. Please, I urge you, let it always be so. Let us always be able to say with the psalmist, behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
I know that it is, Johan would have made statements that it is we as his family and we as a nation do not agree with. It was disrespectful and it was offensive and it should not have been done. And a lot of people are going to feel like maybe he deserves what it is he gets, but he's a human being and he's my brother, and more than anything we just want him to survive. So if you can't help, please do help.
Rights Platform, and we are broadcasting live on the Workers' Rights Network. Jason Silva would have made a statement and he would have gotten arrested. And we would have watched the entire video and we would have never seen anything that warranted arrest other than police aggression. And the mere factor that Jason Silva would have known of his rights, he was arrested. Now, we have seen a similar case with Johan, but again, we were distracted, argumentum ad nauseam. See, we are playing with the recency effect, with things that are new, so we move on to other things and we fail to analyze this whole story. Oh, some of you do not have the whole understanding surrounding this whole thing. I know why Johan Hari was arrested. Forget the factor about this Hanuman God thing. Yes, it was disrespectful. People would have said more disrespectful things than that. Trample Dragon, he actually went in to the places of worship and do certain things. But Johan Hari would have been arrested based on this statement. Pay attention.
The commissioner have little sense. And the national, well, the Homeland Security Minister have no sense. So we have a man with little sense being led by a man with no sense who is supposed to take charge of the people in Trinidad and Tobago. The job of the police within Trinidad and Tobago is to arrest those who have infractions against the law and to bring them to face the court. Now, if it is you decide that you are murdering this person, you are no longer an officer of the law and should be treated as such. You cannot be protected by the Police Service Commission, by the Commissioner of Police, by the Homeland Security Minister. It don't make sense. We're not taking that.
My name is Renison Jeffrey, and this is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live from the Workers' Rights Studio. Trinidad and Tobago, we have been observing the case with Johan Hari. Many of us would have seen the disturbing video, and many of us here in Trinidad and Tobago would have agreed that it was a disrespectful statement. But far removed from that, Trinidad, when the state used laws to victimize its citizens, it would have reverted justice into tyranny. It's clear that the statement of Johan Hari is not unlawful. It was disrespectful. But in this instance, we would have seen the state, which is run by the UNC government, the UNC party, a matter of fact, uses the heavy hand of the law to victimize this gentleman. Now, many of us would have sought for excuses as to try to explain away the fact that he was disrespectful and it was deserving of him. But Trinidad, we are asking the wrong question. What question we ought to be asking in this matter is if the statement of Johan Hari was truth and in fact an unlawful statement. And why it is in this instance, the state did not use other resources than it went from 0 to 100 real quick. Many of us are here stating, hey, we shouldn't say that, we shouldn't say this, we shouldn't say that. But we have reached a place in Trinidad and Tobago where dictatorship is now wrapped in law. Our constitutional rights have been taken away from us for many months without even a proper explanation. We would have heard in some instances that ministers' lives would have been threatened, and up to now, no credible evidence would have been brought in the public domain as to explain away the fact. Instead, we would have seen social media activists, many of them, that would have just voiced their opinion on the matter in where they support the government. But up till today, Trinidad and Tobago, we could rest assured that there is no evidence of what the government is purporting to be the case of calling this SOE on us in this country. We would have seen social media activists after social media activists is being victimized and vilified for standing up or for opposing the government and their decision at this point in time. Now, what we are going to do here is dive straight into the story of Johan Hari, in which many of you needs to pay attention to. And to the many others that believe in democracy should be very ashamed of what we are allowing here in this country. I am calling on the national community, not only you that is sitting and watching this video, but to those who are yet not victimized, to stand with us on this platform. My name is Renison Jeffrey. My number is 333-2176. Reach out to us. Let's form a strong team that the government of this country could not ignore. Our voices matter. This is our constitution. It was built to protect us, the natural citizens, the normal citizens, that don't really support our party, but our natural rights must remain intact. That was the reason for the framing of the Constitution. And we would have seen today that the government of this day would have disrespected it. So what I implore you to do, Trinidad and Tobago, is to look at the video that we are going to play up next, for you to analyze it, and to see the reason why, or to understand. In this specific case with Johan Hari, it's not a story. It is evidence that the government is abusing its power. My name is Renison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform, and I applaud you. Listen to the video that you are going to see up next. Reach out to me on 333-2176. Thank you.
Johan Hari, the PDO, and the legal limits of emergency power in Trinidad and Tobago. The detention of Johan Hari has become more than a single legal matter. It has evolved into a public test of how far emergency power can stretch in a democratic society before it begins to resemble political control. On one side, the state says it acted within the law. On the other, critics argue that the way the power was used reveals a deeper problem. That emergency law can be deployed not only to prevent danger, but to discipline dissent. That is the core constitutional concern. From a strict legal perspective, the minister does have authority under the emergency framework to issue a preventive detention order. That authority is not ceremonial, it is real executive power granted by law. Once the statutory preconditions are met, the minister may issue the order without needing prior approval from a court. The existence of a tribunal does not erase that power. Rather, the tribunal functions as a later safeguard, a review mechanism designed to examine whether the detention remains justified. In other words, the legal structure gives the executive the first move and the tribunal the second look. That sequence matters. In ordinary constitutional theory, liberty is protected by prior judicial control wherever possible. Emergency law reverses that logic. It permits detention first and review later. That does not automatically make the power unlawful, but it does make it exceptional and therefore vulnerable to abuse. A lawful emergency power is still subject to constitutional principles such as necessity, proportionality, rationality, and proper purpose. If those principles are weakened, the action may remain technically valid while becoming democratically suspect. The strongest legal argument in support of critics is not that the minister lacked power, but that the power may have been exercised in a manner that was overly broad or selectively applied. In public law, discretion must be exercised for the purpose for which it was granted. If a detention order is issued because the state genuinely believes there is a serious risk to public safety, that is one thing. But if the same power is used in circumstances where the real effect is to silence an uncomfortable voice, then the issue shifts from law enforcement to constitutional overreach. The question becomes whether the order was genuinely preventive or politically convenient. That distinction is critical because the law does not permit the state to use emergency authority as a substitute for responding to criticism. A democracy may punish threats, incitement, and genuinely dangerous conduct. It may not, however, equate offense with danger or embarrassment with illegality. A video post can be disrespectful, provocative, crude, or even offensive to religion and political leadership without crossing the legal threshold into criminal conduct. Offensiveness alone is not a freestanding ground for detention. The legal test must still be whether the content created a legitimate and demonstrable danger that justified emergency intervention. That is why the claim that the post was disrespectful but not unlawful is legally important. In law, there is a difference between conduct that is socially unacceptable and conduct that is legally prohibited. If that line is blurred, then emergency power begins to swallow free expression. Once that happens, the state can frame nearly any hostile speech as a threat, and the protection of speech becomes conditional on whether the government approves of the message. That is not the logic of constitutional democracy, it is the logic of executive convenience. There is also the issue of proportionality. Even where the state has legitimate concerns, the response must be proportionate to the threat. Preventive detention is among the most severe forms of state interference with liberty because it deprives a person of freedom before a criminal conviction. For that reason, courts and tribunals generally expect the state to show more than annoyance, public controversy, or reputational harm. The state must show a concrete and rational basis for concluding that detention was necessary to prevent harm. If a less restrictive response was available, such as a warning, prosecution under ordinary law, or a narrowly tailored restriction, then the use of a PDO may be open to criticism as excessive. The broader context also supports the concern that emergency power may be having a chilling effect. The government has already imposed restrictions on protests and gatherings in designated areas under the state of emergency. That means the current legal climate is one in which both street protest and online activism are being watched through a security lens. When those two realities combine, the message sent to citizens is not subtle: speak too loudly, and you may be treated as a problem rather than a participant in democratic debate. That is what makes emergency governance so sensitive. It can protect order, but it can also suppress civic courage. A further legal issue is the risk of arbitrary or selective enforcement. Equality before the law requires similar conduct to be treated in a similar way. If one person is detained under emergency powers for speech-related conduct while others making comparable statements face no equivalent sanction, the appearance of unequal treatment becomes difficult to ignore. In public law, even the appearance of arbitrariness can undermine confidence in the legitimacy of state action. When discretion is broad, transparency and consistency become essential. Without them, the public may reasonably conclude that the law is being used strategically rather than neutrally. The tribunal point must also be handled carefully. The existence of a tribunal does not cure every defect in the issuance of a PDO. A review body can assess the legality and continuing necessity of detention, but it cannot retroactively transform a politically motivated decision into a neutral one if the original purpose was improper. Nor can the mere existence of oversight erase the constitutional concern that the executive acted first, restrained liberty immediately, and only then permitted review. Due process is not fully satisfied by later review if the initial deprivation is broad, opaque, or disproportionate. From the state's perspective, however, the strongest argument is that emergency law intentionally grants wide executive discretion because the legislature has recognized that ordinary procedures may be too slow in moments of perceived risk. The minister's authority therefore exists precisely because the law anticipates urgent circumstances. That argument is legally sound as far as it goes. But wide discretion is not unlimited discretion. A power granted for public safety cannot be treated as a blank check for political management. The rule of law requires that even emergency action be directed toward a lawful public purpose and be defensible on objective grounds. So the legal story is not simply that the minister had the right to issue a PDO. The real question is whether that right was exercised in a way that respected constitutional boundaries. If the measure was necessary, proportionate, and genuinely preventive, then the state can defend it. If, however, the detention served to punish a disrespectful but not unlawful video post, or to send a warning to activists generally, then the action becomes much harder to justify in a democratic society. That is where the legal argument turns from authority to abuse, from power to principle. The deeper concern is not one man alone. It is the precedent. If emergency powers can be used to detain a person for speech that is offensive but not clearly unlawful, then the threshold for state intervention becomes dangerously low. Once that threshold drops, the line between security and suppression begins to disappear. And when that happens, the state may still be acting within the words of the law, but it risks acting against the spirit of constitutional liberty. Johan Harry's case is therefore not only about one detention order. It is about whether emergency power in Trinidad and Tobago is being used as a shield for public safety or as a sword against dissent. The law may permit the minister to act first, but democracy demands that such power be exercised with restraint, clarity, and respect for liberty. A disrespectful post may offend the public, but unless it crosses the legal line into unlawful conduct, the state must be careful not to convert offense into justification for exceptional punishment. When offense is not illegality, why the statement was disrespectful, but not automatically a case for a PDO. The statement was vulgar, aggressive, and deeply disrespectful. It insulted Hindu deities, attacked religious belief, and was clearly meant to provoke anger and outrage. Many people would hear those words and feel genuine hurt, especially because the language was not just critical but contemptuous and inflammatory. But in law, being offensive is not the same as being unlawful, and that distinction matters. A democracy must be careful not to confuse emotional injury with legal necessity. People can be offended by speech, even deeply offended, without that speech automatically becoming a matter for preventive detention. The legal system is not supposed to punish poor taste, blasphemy, or rude expression merely because it shocks the public. The question must always be whether the speech crossed the legal threshold into a real threat to public safety, incitement, or another recognized offense. That is where the argument against a PDO becomes strongest. A preventive detention order is an extraordinary interference with liberty. It is not supposed to be used simply because the speech was crude or because the public found it offensive. To justify that level of state action, the authorities must show necessity, proportionality, and a clear public safety rationale. If they cannot do that, then the order begins to look less like prevention and more like punishment. The law draws a hard line between speech that is hateful and speech that is legally punishable. Not every hateful statement becomes a detention matter. Not every vulgar expression becomes a national security matter. Not every attack on religion becomes proof of imminent harm. If those lines are erased, then the state gains the power to silence voices not because they are dangerous, but because they are disturbing. That is a dangerous precedent. Emotionally, the statement was appalling. It was the kind of language that can inflame religious tensions and provoke strong reactions across communities. It showed no respect, no restraint, and no sense of public responsibility. But even appalling speech must be tested against the law, not against anger alone. A society committed to justice cannot allow outrage to replace legal analysis. That is why the better legal argument is this. The statement may have been offensive, but offense alone is not enough to justify a preventive detention order. The state must still prove a lawful basis, a real risk, and a proportionate response. If the conduct did not amount to incitement, threat, or serious prejudice to public safety, then the use of emergency powers is excessive. It becomes an abuse of executive discretion dressed up as public protection. This is also where the issue becomes constitutional rather than merely political. When the state uses emergency power against speech that is disrespectful but not clearly unlawful, it risks creating a chilling effect. People begin to fear that criticism, provocation, or even religious dissent may invite detention. That fear narrows public debate. It weakens democracy. It teaches citizens that the safest speech is silent speech. The emotional force of the statement should not be denied. It was crude enough to insult believers and hostile enough to provoke public condemnation. But a law-abiding society must resist the urge to turn every offensive statement into a security crisis. The proper response to offensive speech is strong public rebuttal, social criticism, and, where the law is actually broken, lawful prosecution. It is not automatic preventive detention. If the government wants to justify a PDO, it must show more than embarrassment or public anger. It must show a legal and factual basis that meets the strict demands of emergency power. Without that, the order risks becoming a political weapon rather than a legal safeguard. And once that happens, the line between law and repression begins to blur. The real issue, then, is not whether the statement was disrespectful. It obviously was. The real issue is whether disrespect can legally be converted into danger. In a free society, the answer must usually be no. Offense may justify condemnation. It may justify debate. It may even justify social consequences. But unless it meets the legal threshold for intervention, it should not justify detention. In the end, the law must remain bigger than outrage. If it does not, then emergency power will always be one insult away from becoming a tool of suppression. That is why this matter deserves not only anger, but careful legal scrutiny.
Was chasing the man for 12 minutes. Why it is we cannot see any camera footage, any CCTV footage from where it is they leave to where it is they end up murdering the man.
Commissioner have to go. We have to go.
The commissioner have little sense. And the national, well, the Homeland Security Minister have no sense. So we have a man with little sense being led by a man with no sense who is supposed to take charge of the people in Trinidad and Tobago. The job of the police within Trinidad and Tobago is to arrest those who have infractions against the law and to bring them to face the court. Now, if it is you
My name is Emerson Jeffrey, and I am back. We would have done a deep dive. We didn't just scratch the surface. We would have gone to the heart and the core of the matter concerning this story with Johan Harry. Many of you may have believed otherwise, but the facts we would have just broken it down for you to see. And what we ought to do about this Trinidad and Tobago. Run, flee. Trinidad and Tobago, we have a constitution that protects us all, despite whatever government we support. And despite who in power, we must fight for our rights here in this country. Legally, the framework was already been set by Eric Williams to protect us against any government, any future government that would have come after him as to trample on our rights as citizens. And what is going on now is that we are living example of the trampling of a government on its citizens in this country. This is the first time this thing ever happened. So what we ought to do, Trinidad and Tobago, it's simple. I would have said it. Don't let the story of Johan Hari be your story. Don't let that story end up on you. And then they come and use ad hominem attacks as to justify why they would have done such. We are witnessing the same thing is going on with the Hadid. Up till now, up till present, we would have seen no clear evidence as to why they would have locked up the Hadid and them. No evidence would have came to the forefront. The same thing that went on with Joshua Samaru. Trinidad, don't let the same thing happen to you. Stand with us. Get in contact with me. Get in contact with the opposition. Invest into this program that we could continually break truths like this within the public domain. Thanks for watching and being a part of this fastest growing network. Join us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And our title is Workers' Rights 868 across all platforms. Thanks for watching and being a part of this program here today. Thank you, Trinidad and Tobago. Oops. Don't forget to subscribe to the platform.